Ooh, we're live. Yes, we
Yes.
are. 10.
Let me just get you tagged real quick.
Tag.
So
Got it?
you're let's see here. Okay, well, hello everyone. I have the pleasure today of having a special guest, Bettina Sastoque, on here. And Bettina's a good friend of mine, a realtor and team leader, mom, community member from the other side of the Metroplex. So welcome, Bettina.
Thank you for having me today. I'm really super excited. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you on finally. You know, we tried to do this before between our busy schedule. It's been tough getting it scheduled, but glad we're here.
I'm excited we're here. Yeah. And, it's funny because we've been friends for so long and we have so much respect for you. You're one of the most knowledgeable people about so many subjects, especially financials that we know. And I know you and my husband get to spend a lot of quality time together. So I'm excited that I have my quality time with you now.
Well, I appreciate that, Bettina. I have tons of respect for you and Juan, too. Y'all are fantastic people. I'll definitely put y'all high on the list of people I wanted to have on this podcast.
Oh, he's fun. You should have him. He's making me coffee right now. He'll jump in here in a second just to say hi. I know.
Okay, awesome. I look at y'all as almost like indistinguishable between the two of y'all. Y'all are always so fun to be around. So, but anyway, Bettina, so tell the audience a little bit about what you're about. You know, and I know you've been a realtor for a long time. You have a great, very interesting story. Start at the beginning. Why did you get into real estate?
Well, why did we get into real estate? Well, it started. Okay, here's how it started. You ready? So when Juan and I first started dating, he used to be a professional soccer player. Then he retired, right? So what happens when you retire? You get into coaching. So we had some great friends that got him some skills coaching because he just came back to the country. He did some skills coaching, started building a clientele. And then people started bringing their teams, asking them to coach their teams. And then over time, we had more kids than we could coach ourselves. So then we started hiring other coaches to come work with us. And we built a little academy. That was a ton of fun. That's kind of how we met. We met Wilco. Actually, he used to play with Wilco. So before that. And then our son, Logan, who just walked in the house like a few minutes ago with his big dogs and like, woo, that's what all that big commotion was earlier. But when Logan started kindergarten, right, historically, we'd always had all this free time during the day to kind of go to Costco, go do whatever we wanted. Like life was good. But Logan started school and Juan realized that he wasn't getting to see him as much because he was on the soccer field afternoons, weekends, and holidays with other people's kids. So we had a plan to have 2 more kids. So when that didn't, we knew we needed to make a shift. So we went to go see my dad, right? And we told my dad about our conundrum, this pickle we got ourselves into. Life is good. We love this. We love the time that we have, but we're not going to be able to spend the time with our kids. We were projecting 10, 15, 20 years out. And he said, well, Bettina, you should be in sales. You like to help people. Because here's why that's important. My dad had actually left the country back in the 60s, and he had just moved back to the country. And he said the shift in sales in the U.S. had shifted to him traumatically, right? Because back in the day, he said salespeople were really helpful. They would sincerely make an effort to try to help you. While nowadays, they were just trying to sell you stuff. Right?
That's all about closing you.
Now it's all about closing you. And he said, Bettina, you actually like to help people. You'll make a killing in sales. So I was like, okay, great. What am I selling? Shoes, cars? What am I selling? And I've been blessed at the time. My aunt Ann Houston up in Denton became a realtor. And she became very successful. She won She won a ton of awards, ethics awards. She got Realtor of the Year for the state of Texas. Like, just an amazing role model for me, not just as a human, but it turns out also as a realtor. And so we decided to follow in her footsteps, so to speak. So Juan and I made a 3-year plan to get out of soccer into real estate. I got my license in December of 2006. So if you think, in 2006 was a big year for me. Sebastian was born April 23rd of 2006. So I got my license. I went through the online licensing process, got my license and everything. And so my first year and a half, because I nursed for 2 years, I had that baby in tow. So we had an agent at a lunch and learn. She was like, she had her baby crying, fussing a little bit. She was nursing. I was like, yo, my gosh, this brings back memories, right?
Yeah, so you learned real estate from a very early age, huh?
Yeah.
Full immersion.
But you know what I'm really passionate about, Chris? And that brings me to this passion subject. I have a lot of them, but this one's very important to me. So I had people tell me that it wasn't professional to bring my kids on listing appointments or showing appointments, right? But that's what I needed to do. I was nursing. What are my options?
Right. You did the best
right?
you could with
So
what you had.
I was so grateful that I'm so grateful that I stuck to what was important to me, which was, I decided a long time ago that my people, my clientele, were going to support me, right? And if they didn't like me having a kid in tow, they weren't my people.
Right.
Right.
Well, I don't know how anybody could meet you and know your situation and still not want to work with you.
I don't know. I don't know. If they didn't want to work with me, I didn't know about it. So it worked out fine. As far as my little bubble went and my little story in my head, everybody wanted to work with me, right? Because that's kind of what you have to tell yourself.
Right. And that's one of the things I admire so much about you and Juan is that y'all have always done such a great job of like creating such an incredible life for your family. You know, you don't put business before work. You managed to get everything done and you're very successful in real estate, but you're always out having fun and everything. Tell me a little bit about how you manage your work-life balance.
Well, okay, it didn't start off that way, right? So
right.
It started off with, because you know how when you get into real estate, you close some deals and then your goal is to double that, right? And close 5, 10. Let's go up to, our goal, let's make it to 20. Let's hit 40, right? You run out of time and energy at 40. So then you start hiring people. Then you start getting into management. And then you start getting into management. And that's a whole slew of other problems to deal with. And I really got really caught up in all of that, right? And just like doubling my business, investing my time and my energy. And I would have to say that I went through that period of time where it wasn't balanced. And it's okay. And I don't believe that there is such thing as balance. It's like you just prioritize whatever you're in the moment. The problem that
most of us tend to go, sometimes you go guardrail to guardrail, you're always kind of tweaking, but it's rare that you can just find that straight line to stay in balance all the time.
Course corrections all along the way, right?
I hear you. Been there, done that.
But I think I was very much leaning on one bumper, right? There wasn't a lot of course correction along the way. What's great is I have an amazing husband, and Juan, and he recognized that what we were doing was crazy. And just like that whole, it just didn't make sense to him. That the norm in our industry says that, yeah, it's normal to cry all the time. Yeah, it's normal to be so upset that you're just drunk in a stupor. It's normal to do that. And he's like, no, if you think about a relationship, that would be considered toxic, a toxic relationship. That's not right. And I was like, well, how do I get out of it? We got ourselves in, we worked really hard to get this far. What's our exit strategy? Right? How are we getting out? And luckily we didn't know, but luckily we had a friend Wilco introduced us to Rob and shared with us this model of EXP that has like totally changed our lives. But you know what's really cool? It changed our thinking, right? Because I'm sure that there was a way for us to probably do it before, because our goal was just to get rental properties and invest and grow a portfolio, which was a long term. But Rob just told us that we could be with our kids now, and if we're not with our kids now, if you wait, it's too late. You don't get it back. Right?
Time is our only non-replenishable resource in this world.
Absolutely. It's the one thing you don't get back. Exactly. So 2016, June, we moved over our license, bought an RV at the end of that year, which we've used a lot, as you know.
Yes.
We went on our first 30-day road trip in 2017. Oh, you want to hear something interesting?
Of course.
So when I first got my license and we joined this phenomenal office here in Allen, and we joined this phenomenal office, and we had just gotten back from a 3-week backpacking trip with Logan and Sebastian, right? And through Thailand. We backpacked through Thailand. We came back, and we told them that we did that. And the market was crashing and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, why would you get in real estate? You'll never be able to travel in real estate. What?
I think we both proved them wrong on that, huh?
We proved a few people wrong. Well, they also said we wouldn't be successful in real estate. So we proved them wrong too. So like, this is where it doesn't matter what other people think. Like people thought we were being unprofessional. People thought we couldn't travel. People thought I wouldn't be successful, but just because, I do kind of, I don't know. I am who I am, right? They thought that I needed to be something else.
Have you found that the doubters have energized you to prove them wrong? Is that giving any extra fuel to your fire, or is it just you just doing what you want to do?
I haven't reached that place in my life. And I know those people where they have doubters. They're like, doubters are like fuel, right? It gasses them. It makes them like, I don't know. I still have that heart. Like, I'm like, what do they know that I don't know? What do I have to overcome? Do I let it stop me? No. Right? I'm still hard-headed. I'm still like, all right, well, watch. But it depends who the doubters are, right? And I think now I just have better people in my life. I don't have those kind of people in my life. I've been really blessed that over the last 6 years, we've got these incredible people like you, right? In our lives that continues to support us and support our crazy. Like when I have a crazy idea, you're like, that's not so crazy. Yeah, that can be done. I say something and they're like, oh yeah, you can definitely, work hard. You'll make that happen. Oh, okay. Hey, I know somebody. Nobody's saying, oh, you can't do that.
Right. Yeah. What I found too is, especially since coming over, the quality of your life is so influenced by your inner circle, and just the kind of people that you share thoughts with and, ideas, inspiration and all that. It's made a tremendous impact on my life as well.
How so? Tell me.
Just by expanding your mind of what's possible, first of all.
Right.
Challenging conventional wisdom. You talked about realtors aren't supposed to be able to travel freely. We're not supposed to have work-life balance and everything. Most of the summer, we're going to try to travel because we can. And so, you guys are great role models and influences. The fact that you guys just bought an RV, and for a while, it seemed like you were gone more often than you were here.
We did in 2017. Our goal in 2017 was to travel 1 month out of the year. So I'm going to let you know that's too much. You can burn out doing that. You're going a week or 2 out of every month. Like everything is just, it's not good. Once a quarter, I feel like is definitely the sweet spot. So I've tested it.
I haven't found that that point yet to spend too much.
Well, it's probably, it was my kids. My kids said it was too much.
Got it.
Well, actually, I shouldn't say kids plural. It was Sebastian, but he's more of a homebody. Ava, she's the one that just turned 13. She'll go places with me. I'm so excited. We're actually taking a 3-week trip to Thailand in October. I'm so excited.
So, do you homeschool your kids?
Just Ava. So Sebastian's about to be a senior next year, and Ava, I homeschool her. She homeschools herself. With technology nowadays, like, I try to get her to not just do her classwork. So the other, like, I'll try to have her do like different things. Like one of the tips that we got at the summit, was it last week in Orlando? Somebody said, every single day, spend 1 hour learning one thing in real estate, anything in real estate. Write it down, because that organizes your thoughts, and create a video on it. And that's your first communication with it, because everything's about real estate conversations, right? So that becomes your first conversation. And so I was like, that's brilliant. So I told Ava, I said, pick any subject. You can learn anything you want. Write some bullet pointed notes, just whatever you want to write about it, and do a quick 30-second video about it.
It's brilliant. Yeah, and Ava's so mature for her age, just from all the people she's around and, being exposed to all your friends and colleagues. I imagine she's learned so much for somebody her age.
Well, I have to say, you guys, all of our friends, we're so blessed, because you guys really pour so much into her. You give her confidence. You boost her her self-confidence, right? Significantly. And you're right, being homeschooled, we were able to take her to conferences. Like, we did a 5-day conference in Austin with Brendan Burchard. So it was amazing. She went to Orlando with us. Although I didn't have her go sit in that conference, because she just heard Ed Milet like 3 weeks before. So
come on, can you get too much Ed Milet in your life?
I don't think so. But she's still 13. I really wanted her. Her exercise was to go down to the pool and make friends. That was her job.
Did she accomplish her mission?
She said there weren't a lot of kids, but on Saturday, she said she had so much fun. She met kids in the arcade. She taught them the little tricks and tips that she had, skills that she had acquired in the arcade. So I think they appreciated that, and all sorts of stuff. But she also like hung out with other realtors.
Wow.
And they poured into her. And so what's really cool is that she hears it. And it comes back. Her negotiation skills are really good. I'm kind of.
Does she have any interest in becoming a realtor in the future?
I think so. Sebastian says he's getting his real estate license, so he can't do that till he's 17 and a half. And Ava's next. She's my assistant, so she does a lot anyways.
Well, so the Homestar Sellers team is growing.
The Homestar Sellers team is growing, and we couldn't be more excited. And I just appreciate what we're able to do, and kind of just we ebb and flow within the Homestar Sellers team. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your team before EXP and kind of where it is, including your reps organization today, and how that evolution has changed your business and your life.
Well, it's changed a lot. Juan should be telling you this, because he's the one. I can get a little neurotic and kind of captured into all the, going on stage and the accolades and their certificates and all that kind of stuff, and do all the crazy pain in the middle just to get that, I can go from da 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 da. Juan's kind of a little bit more big picture-esque, in that he believes in enjoying the view, enjoying the journey, which I am too, but sometimes I can get all caught up in the destination, right? And forget the value of the journey. And I can also be competitive. So when somebody wants to compete, I'm like, yeah, this is how we level up, is by competition. Well, at EXP, it's more collaboration. And what I found is, for me, it's more collaboration is just a healthier way to grow. I think when we want, I know as a parent, and I want like we have, or as a coach, we want kids to get better, and we get them to compete against each other, but it's not always the healthiest environment. When we have the teams where they collaborate and they help each other get better, everybody has a better experience. So
the nice thing is fellow owners of the company, you know, when you win, I win, and vice versa. You know, that rising tide raises all of our ships, and you know, we cheer each other on, we collaborate, we help each other. You know, and there's always going to be a little bit of competitive aspect, but you know, just amazing the collaboration, how we've really become just one big family to help each other. We're not each other's lines, but I still cheer y'all on, all your successes, and I love seeing y'all win.
Not just that, but in other areas of our lives, because we talk a lot. I know you and Juan spend a lot of time talking about things that are not real estate, and you really help our thinking in other areas. That's what friendship is. That's what collaboration is. It's just, this is what actually gives us a fuller life. It's not like nobody's keeping score.
Right.
You know, it's like you have those friends, they're like, oh, you spent $10 on that. Let me keep score on how much money we spent. But then you have those friends who are like, hey, I got all this. Hey, I got all this. Hey, nobody's keeping score.
Well, that's what being friends is all about, right?
Right. Nobody's keeping score. So I love that we have this community that nobody's keeping score. Right. We're all just bringing a whole bunch of stuff in, putting it all in the pot, and it just marinates and just becomes absolutely delicious.
That's a great analogy. I didn't think of it that way, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, and sometimes, you know, somebody's bringing the stone, but still it adds minerals and vitamins. Everybody brings some kind of value to everything. But to answer your question, before we had 4 buyer's agents, admin, VAs, ISAs, and something, I don't know, like a full-fledged on team, right? And a showing assistant. And now we have no traditional like buyer's agents or showing agents. If we need that, we'll just go to Showami, or we'll find somebody who works specifically with that particular client. It keeps me from having to be responsible for them, for a specific agent. It also allows an agent to grow their brand and grow them. Because before, when I had a buyer's agent on our team, all their data was my data. That's the way I had been taught, right? I had been taught that they work for me. Those are my leads. If they brought in leads, they went into my CRM, right? And
that was basically, was it the billionaire real estate agent model?
Yes, it's what I was coached on. And it was great for me. It was great for the broker because I trained their new agents for them essentially. So we guessing about every brand new agent that we trained probably cost us $10,000 to $25,000, right? And people are like, how's that? Well, the leads that we give them that they do not convert are lost opportunities, right? So versus having an experienced agent like one of us calling a lead, because I remember all the time they're like, these leads are awful. I'm like, really? Well, maybe I haven't looked at them for a minute. Let's just look. So we go in there and we start dialing. Ring, ring. All right. Convert that one. They're ready for an appointment. Bam. Right? Do it. Well, maybe it was a fluke. Boom, boom, boom. 30 minutes later. Oh, there's another fluke. It turns out it's not the lead. It's an agent's ability to convert and follow up, but they would stop following up. And we knew they didn't follow up because the system would tell us when they followed up, right? And you have to follow up a lot to get a hold of them. So this is reason, like agents all the time, they talk about, oh, I need leads. I need leads. I need leads. I need leads. I'm like, you do not need leads. You have leads. You need to convert. Right? And it sounds not kind, but it's the truth. And now ChatGPT will coach you for free to be a master converter on
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
So you don't even need to spend the $1,000 a month to talk for half an hour with a real estate coach so that you can become better at your scripts and your dialogues. I mean, yes, that's good, but you have Chat GPT to do that, right?
The thing is, you still need to pick up the phone.
Well, what is it? The real estate conversation is the gateway to closings, right? And as soon as we know that, and we just know we have to pass through more gates than anybody else. How do we want to get there? It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very cool. So, going from the old model, you call it the Old Testament, to the new model, how has that impacted your overall, stress and your work-life balance and all those subjective factors?
I think the biggest impact is the relationship that it has had for me and my family. So it allowed me this model because of the revenue share and the stock and stuff like that. Mainly the revenue share, I would say, because that's the income that comes in every month. I've never had a salary before in my life, right? It's always been if I stopped working, like the money stops. But to know that there is something that comes in, whether, no matter what it is. So having that security, I was able to take time and really work on myself and grow, right? There's like not getting caught up in, how a dog, an untrained dog, they see a rabbit and they start like they just go crazy. They're just crazy.
That's the Pavlovian response.
That's a response.
They're way programmed.
Right. I was uncivilized in that manner, right? You gave me a competition. There was a goal. They're like, hey, you had to win. You do this to win. And I'm like, oh, I'm in, right? I'm like, I become that frenzied dog and I was all in. And it's cute at first and it serves you well at first, right? But it's not civilized, right? What happens over time is if you have a dog that's like that and it's 100 pounds, you're sick and tired of taking that dog for a walk. You don't want to take that dog for a walk, right? You've got to train that dog to be able to control that, right? The dog learns how to control that instinct to hunt or that reaction, right? When they see a rabbit, then they have a more joyful life. You have a more joyful life, right? And we can all go for a walk and not worry about losing it when we see a rabbit.
So are you suggesting that Juan no longer wanted to go on walks with you at one point?
I think he was sick and tired of going on walk. Like every time there was a competition, I'm like, all right, we got it, and everybody's like, man, your wife's kind of competitive. And he's like, oh. And they always thought that he was a competitive one because he was a professional athlete. But what he discovered as a professional athlete, it wasn't about the game, right? The way you play the game is how you work and practice, right? The game was only a result of your practices. So I was living every day like it was a championship, which is what I had been taught. It's not every day has to be, you're not winning the championship every day, right? It's healthy for everybody else around you.
Yeah, I think that's part of what makes you and Juan such a great couple is y'all complement each other so well. Y'all are very different, but the two of y'all combined make y'all such a powerhouse.
Thank you. Well, he's always like, just show up as your best self every day. Every day, show up as your best self for that particular day. And sometimes my best self today is not going to be as good as my best self yesterday. But it doesn't mean that I didn't do great today because I was the best that I could be today. Right? And it's okay to have course corrections along the way. So yeah, Juan has really, really, and continues to remind me that it's the journey and that, I do my best every day and that's it. You don't have to beat yourself up on days that you didn't win the championship. You didn't win that game that day. Don't beat yourself up.
Right. And I've had a lot more losses than wins, so I'd be pretty bloody and bruised if I beat myself up every time I did win.
But you know what? That's experience. Like you and Juan both have that kind of experience, right? And in that, in giving yourself grace. And when you're able to give yourself grace, it makes the journey more enjoyable. And I think you can go significantly further without burning out.
Yeah, I think it's just a fortitude to just keep going and marching forward. It's not failure until you quit. Anybody who's successful and has been so for long enough, you probably run into a lot of walls and taking your losses and everything, but just keep marching and moving forward.
And you don't have to. It's not worth getting that angry about.
No.
Well, where were you 6 years ago, 7 years ago, buddy? 8 years ago, 9 years ago? If something didn't work out right, I'm like, oh, yeah, we got to fix this. We got to fix this. Now, I still have that. I'm still like, oh, okay, what are we going to fix? How do we fix that? Right? I can still want to fix something without having to get so riled up and boiled over about it.
Yeah. So what are your hot spots right now? The things you're working on most?
I'm obsessed with AI right now. So I've got our VA team. So the hardest thing for me with our VA team is getting them to want to slow down because they don't want to slow down to learn the AI, right? Because they want to keep cranking out tasks. And I'm like, guys, we're going to take your list, prioritize it, block out the time, take the least important thing off for today and put at the top training, continuing education.
The thing about AI is it rewards you for not going too fast, because if you just employ AI without properly training it, it's going to give you crap results. The real magic is in training your AI, using the right prompts and a series of prompts to build those knowledge bases, building your ideal client profile and all that to where it will produce the best quality results.
I love AI. I feel like there's somebody who will tolerate me being so particular about all the nitty gritty that I'm always like, about. Like AI, Chat GPT, loves it. It's like, oh, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, well, we're probably going to have to get together sometime offline and powwow about AI and kind of trade some notes, because I love AI too.
Yeah.
I actually got certified as their first A certified real estate agent, so that's a passion of mine too. And it's when I started using it, I thought it was pretty cool, but once I dug in deep, my mind was blown, and it really is a incredible tool.
Well, and here's the other thing. So I'm a mom, right? So I think about, I'm about that for my kids, right? I like my son this last year, I said, you better be using Chat GPT. So I went on Google Bard. He said, I don't know if I'm going to do well on my English test. It's going to ask me these type of questions on this book, like The Great Gatsby, right? I forget the theme about it. And so I asked Bard for the questions on that theme for The Great Gatsby, whatever it is, and that he would need to know in order to pass a final exam.
Wow.
It gave me all everything. We went over it while he was driving in the car. Bam, bam, bam. Magical. I also asked him, he said, I don't know if I'm going to do well in my art class. So I asked him, I said, hey, I think watercolors is going to be on the final exam for art. How can he pass the final exam? Give me some advice. It gave some phenomenal, actionable items for him to do.
Wow. I love it. Now, have you done any split testing of ChatGPT versus Bard and any other alternatives to see how they differ in the results?
So I started using Bing. I like Bing's microphone, the voice to text better. It's it understands me better, in my opinion. Google Bard, I feel I don't know. At first I thought it was my phone. It would stop. I just felt it felt a little clunky, its listening skills. And I know I have a lot of words, but still I'd like Bard to, like the AI, to be able to keep up with me. The Bing technology, I feel is like it really does keep up very well. Bing also gives me like references pretty well. I feel like Google Bard is more conversational and really gets to the point. I like the responses better from Bard. ChatGPT, I like being able to have the different channels and having each channel have a different persona, right?
Right.
So that's because with Bing and with Bard, I have to start over. Like I can't train the persona. So that's all I know. I just kind of gave you everything.
Okay. Yeah, I dabbled a little bit in Bard, but not really much to where I know much about it. So most of my experience is on the ChatGPT side, which has suited me very well.
Well, I need your help to do convert spreadsheets into charts and data. I need help with that. I really want that to happen. I would really love for it to sync with API, do an API integration somehow. That would make me so happy. I don't know if that's possible yet, but okay, for Google Bard, I got rid of Google on my home screen on my phone.
Okay.
Got rid of it, and in its place, I put Bard, right? So I saved it to my home screen, and I use Bard instead of Google for everything. When I was in Orlando, get this, I was in Orlando, and it was the last day. We had to be at the airport at 3:00. I told Bard that I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's going to turn, she's about to turn 13. We have to be at the airport at 3. She likes outdoor activities. She likes animals. And I kind of gave it a whole list of stuff we like to do. Give us something to do for the day that's close to Rosenshingle Creek Hotel, and we'll still be able to get to the airport on time. It gave me a list of 5 things, why they were good, why I thought that my daughter would like it. We chose one of it. I could not have chosen better. I got all that done in like just a few minutes, was able to figure that out, get an Uber, and go.
Nice.
I would be researching for hours.
Did it tell you to go to Universal Studios?
No, it took me, you know where that big, it's got like a big Ferris wheel thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that whole area. Yeah, we did Build-A-Bear there, because you can get a Build-A-Bear for the age that you're going to become. We played cornhole. We ate Gordon Ramsay chips and fish and chips. She got ice cream. We had watched somebody film. It was just a great, easygoing, exactly what we needed outdoor activity.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It was perfect. Bard did better than I could have done.
Yeah. And are you aware now that there's a ChatGPT mobile app for phones?
Am I worried or am I excited?
No, do you know that there's a ChatGPT mobile app?
Yeah. Yes. And I love it. I love it. I love it. It rocks my world. I just can't seem to use it fast enough. But it's awesome. Okay. I'm going to enjoy the journey. Woosha.
Okay, well, Bettina, you've been a fountain of knowledge here. And aside from going all in on AI, if anybody watching is like a newer agent or an agent who's struggling a little bit, do you have any parting bits of advice for them?
I think, golly, decide if you're in or out on this business. Meaning, are you willing to do the things that are necessary to grow your business? There's a million ways to make money, but are you willing to show up and go to work every single day on your business? Are you willing to grow? Are you willing to grow into that top professional that you say you want to be? Are you willing to do the things that those people do? If your answer is no, then just go ahead and get out. And I know that that's not a popular answer, but you're doing yourself a disjustice. But when you decide and you commit to saying yes to yourself and your future in this career, go all in every single day. Like, you know what to do. You know to have a spreadsheet with the name, phone number, email address, and social media links, at least 100. You know to pick up the phone. You know to have real estate conversations, however you want to do it. you know you have to go to work every single day, right? If you don't know what to do, ask somebody. But there's a million ways to do this business. The one thing is making that commitment to yourself to grow and to learn every
Those
day.
are wise words. This is not an easy business, but it's a very rewarding one. You
It's
know,
simple.
not very accommodative towards dabblers, but if you're all in, coachable, and willing to do the work, sky's the limit, right?
Sky's the limit. Like if you're looking for a job, but if you're looking for the opportunity, an opportunity to be able to excel, to have an unlimited potential, right? Where everything like is, what's the word? Like you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish, right? Like your parents say you can be anything you want to be. You really can in real estate. Right? If you're ADD, great. If you're hyper focused, great. If you're like detail oriented, great. There's a part of this business that will accommodate that.
And the
right?
crazy thing is, we don't need to get any kind of crazy degrees or anything. You know, my prior job or career, I had an MBA in finance, and it served me well over that time. But here, like, you know, like wipe the slate clean, you don't need any of that. You know, just have to be 18 and be able to pass the test. And, you know, you can go far beyond that.
You still have to get an education.
You do have to get education, but it can be self-education or, you know, through coaching, training, and
all of that.
We've both invested a lot in our education along the way. Make no mistake, but it's often very specified rather than generic.
Yes. So I think that's the difference. People think, oh, you can get in real estate and be incredibly successful and not have to, and just bring your old self into this new position. When they say your business grows as much as you grow, right? You have to become a better conversationalist, a better negotiator, better at technology, better marketer, right? Better with people. You have to be better with your own patience, better at holding your tongue. But you're going to have to grow. And as you grow, you get rewarded for it.
Right. The cool thing is, you know, like at our shareholder summit a couple weeks ago, it's hard not to get a lot of that education just by being around our extended family, huh?
Well, that's what it is. I completely agree. Shareholders was phenomenal. I took so many notes. Like I got this remarkable because I'm a notebook person, a spiral notebook person, and I have pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of notes that I gathered from this, not just from like the X camp and the sessions, but also in private conversations in between. Amazing notes in between as well. Just so, yeah.
Those remarkables are pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I like it because the conversation just goes one way. It doesn't give me feedback. So a lot of times I don't have interruptive notifications on it. So it works well for me. Chris, nice. I want to thank you for having me and inviting me to have this conversation with you. Thank you.
Well, Bettina, thanks for coming on. It was my pleasure. I learned a lot, and I hope everybody viewing did. You're just a wealth of information and inspiration. So it's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Yay, thank you. Okay, if you're new, don't choose to quit. Choose to grow. That's it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, till next time. See you soon.
Mwah. Love you, Chris. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I was about to X out. I don't